One of the worst restricted Pokemon that you could be using on your team in Regulation G has gotta be Mewtwo. But today, I actually managed to find a team that should hopefully put in some decent work despite the fact that Mewtwo otherwise typically doesn't have great usage. And if you want to try this team out yourselves, of course, I'm going to be linking to this as well as 21 other teams created by the same account who made or at least sourced this Mewtwo team. So that'll be linked down below as well as the paste to this specific team. I highly recommend you guys check out the description for that. But if you enjoy and want to see more content like this, like and subscribe. Let me know if you are interested in seeing other teams on this list. Tomorrow's team is going to be a Zama rain team that I actually built myself. But there are a lot of other cool teams here though, such as the Necrozma Dawnwing Psy Spam team and also the Dondozo team. There's a lot of cool Dozo teams. Like I don't typically like using Dozo, but I can't lie, a lot of the Dozo teams are pretty fun in this format. And this one in particular happens to be a pretty cool gimmick. We're building around Psych Up Mewtwo today. Now, I'm going to quickly go over the team in case you guys missed yesterday. We're no longer doing official full in-depth team builders. For any videos, like for example tomorrow's, where we are doing a team that I built myself, we will be covering that on a separate video for channel members. So also consider becoming a member, I guess. But with that said though, essentially the goal of the Mewtwo team here is to use Psych Up to copy the Dondozo. It's essentially the Toxic Orb gimmick Tatsugiri, and the Mewtwo literally just plays like as if we were going to be using Flamigo, and we have a real fighting type in Urshifu, which should be great as well, especially for that Cali matchup. Mewtwo does have Terra still to get out of the weakness to Cali, but in case if we just need a good revenge killer for it, we do have Urshifu. And the combination of these two mons are scary. In case if we need a good way to essentially pop the Tatsugiri, we do have Regieleki, which can go for something like Explosion with Choice Scarf. It outpaces literally everything in the game. There's not a Pokemon that can outpace this, by the way. Nothing can without Tailwind. So we go for Lecky, Explosion, we go for Endure on Tatsugiri, then Dondozo comes in. It's a great way to guarantee that Tatsugiri gets brought down, and then we have Mewtwo just to take advantage of and psych up the Dondozo. And at that point, the store power is really good, because a lot of people are going to see Mewtwo and be like, oh, okay, seeing this, and Psychic type checks typically are going to be mons like Wide Guard users, or I guess like a really defensive Dark type like Tinglu or Woshian. But in this particular sense, I mean, Mewtwo can muscle, and especially for the most common Dark type being Incineroar, you have Earth Power for it. So, in case you want to try the rental, it's on screen here, obviously. And with that said, let's get into today's battles. I'm so sorry for anyone, by the way, for the small, like very small, subtle tweak in camera angle. I realized that I was just off center with how the camera was recording, so I just moved it. I don't even know if it'll be noticeable. I probably will be able to edit around it, so it literally is not noticeable to you guys. But in case if anyone does notice it, I'm sorry, I guess, for the continuity in case it messes with anyone. But okay, so immediately though, we are taking on a Koraidon Sun team. Now, this actually should work out pretty well. I could probably literally just go for the typical strat here. I could also in theory use Urshifu, but the issue being is that Urshifu does actually have a bit of a weakness to... so essentially, the reason we would use Urshifu is because Urshifu is a really decent way of breaking through for Farigiraf, which could be decent, especially considering the fact that there's a very real chance that my opponent leads off with like Farigiraf. So having Urshifu for that is really huge. If we could force Terra Fairy on that, that's a lot better than dealing with like a Terrifier Koraidon. Not that it would be super scary, but just the offensive pressure that could put up is going to be a lot. It's just going to be very appreciated to not have to deal with. Now, as far as my opponent's team goes, they're going to go with Walking Weight Koraidon. Okay, perfect. So I was really worried about an Incineroar lead, but this is kind of the beauty of using this team right now, is that thankfully we're not playing Master Ball players. So not that Incineroar is like the greatest mon into Dondozo teams, but like this isn't someone who I'm gonna think has like played this team before, which is decent, and they're not gonna know the gimmick. So even if my opponent does protect around this works out perfectly fine. I'm gonna go for Endure here, and I'm gonna go for Explosion. Unless they dual protect, something does probably die here. They're gonna go for Protect on Koraidon, but do they protect the Walking Wake? Because honestly, killing Wake would be pretty huge here. They are gonna protect on Wake. Okay, that's fine. It is what it is. Lecky will unfortunately die. Not a lot I could do about that, but it is what it is. If even the fact though that they're burning Protect, we get some good information here. Obviously, they're not going to be choice options, because no way in hell would they be running Protect if they were choiced. Not only this, but Mewtwo still does kind of stomp on this team anyway, and I can utilize... let's see, am I going to go for Terra on Dondozo here? Or am I going to go for Terra on the Mewtwo here? I'm kind of fine going with Terra Fairy and Mewtwo. I feel like it has a lot of defensive benefit here. But Terra Steel and... Actually, Terra Steel and Dozo doesn't offer me anything, especially against these two. So, what I'll probably do is I'm going to bring in Dondozo for sure. And I think I'm just going to go for the Order Up into Koraidon. Thankfully, though, they both click Protect. So that's another benefit too, is even though we couldn't get off the damage immediately with the with my opponent, obviously, by making sure that we can kill off... Actually, what I'm going to do, I'm going to kill off the... I think I'm gonna kill off the Koraidon. Yeah, I'm much more appreciative of killing off Koraidon here than I am of the of the Walking Wake. There's a good chance that my opponent could switch out Walking Wake as well anyway. But thankfully, the Walking Wake's best move to click is probably like Draco Meteor, which gets weakened. It's not gonna be weaker against Dondozo, but it will be against Mewtwo. Meanwhile, Koraidon is a pretty spammable collision course here, or even potentially Terrifier plus Flare Blitz, which would do really good damage to Mewtwo. So I don't really want to take that on. I would rather just kill the Koraidon. Also, it looks like at the very least that we are going to, one, we're going to get this nice speed boost, so we're going to be very fast. We're going to be so fast into that Koraidon on the next turn. But more importantly, though, number 2 is that the Walking Wake will get outpaced, and we can just potentially bully that anyway. So I'm really not too concerned here, personally. What I'm going to do as well is I'm going to go for the Terra Fairy here on the Mewtwo. That should take on any sort of attack, barring like a Hydro Steam. But even if they do go for a Hydro Steam, I'm not too concerned here. The goal is more so to get in the Mewtwo, so that's already goal achieved at this point. Now, they could definitely protect. Protect, frankly, though, just gives me more opportunity to steamroll my opponent. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to click another Order Up this turn into the Koraidon space, and then I'm going to go for the Terra Fairy, and I'm going to go for a Psych Up right into that Dondozo. Dondozo giving us +4 speed in tandem with +2 in every other stat looks very appealing, I can't lie. I'm very confident that Dondozo, especially considering it did outpace the Walking Wake already, and we are 236 speed, which isn't quite max, but it is a lot of speed to be investing still. I'm very confident we'll outpace. Now, it looks like they're going to switch here, probably into Flutter Mane if I had to guess. No, into Amoonguss. Oh, this is very bad for my opponent. Holy shit, that is bad for my opponent. Because my Mewtwo is about to cook. My Mewtwo is also safety goggles, just for this type of scenario. So, no, they're really fucked, actually. Like, they are so fucked, in fact. My Mewtwo will also stat boost for that Walking Wake too. So even though it will have the Sun boost, it's not going to matter a ton. My Mewtwo is also fairly bulky, so that's also going to be really good. And my Amoonguss just shatters. Well, my Mewtwo just shatters his Amoonguss too. Meanwhile, the Walking Wake has to deal with an Order Up from my Dondozo, assuming it doesn't die this turn. And if it does die, I mean, so be it. It's not a huge deal. I think Mewtwo can realistically still win the game on its own, thankfully. Especially considering the fact that the Walking Wake is now weakened itself. Koraidon will get outpaced. And all I need to do is just honestly target the not Amoonguss space. The Amoonguss is such a not threatening Pokemon here that I just Sword Power into the Walking Wake here. There's nothing Amoonguss can do that would actually threaten me, and I can kind of just keep doing this the whole game. The one issue, I guess, would be specifically if a field position came up where my opponent got in both like Incineroar and also the Incineroar and Koraidon on the same turn. Otherwise, I'm not scared. They're going into Farig anyway, so they don't even have Incineroar. And not only that, but we targeted the Farig here, which is great, because that just means that we're going to get off some really serious damage into that. I'm not really scared of Koraidon coming in either, because again, we still have the +2 boost to our Fizz Death, and that's pretty easy to kill at this point. Plus, the Sword Power will still hurt Farig. Like, I don't know what you guys are expecting damage-wise, but like, that's a pretty dead Farig at this point. I just go for Sword Power again into Farig. They might honestly forfeit. So the best thing that Koraidon could do is definitely go for like a Flare Blitz this turn, which is totally valid. I am anticipating Protect, however, because their best play is actually to get up Trick Room here, thinking I will target Koraidon. So they're going to go for an offensive move. That's fine. Again, I'm fully expecting the Flare Blitz here. It's the only move that Koraidon can click that will do like real damage. But their Sun should actually expire the next turn, which is huge. Meanwhile, that's a 3-hit KO right there. That is a 3-hit KO from Koraidon. Like that's a super offensive Pokemon, and this Koraidon's only going to be even weaker now. I honestly just target whatever. I'd probably target the partner spot for Koraidon. I could also go for a Recover, realistically. I mean, Recover is really free, especially considering... Oh, they have a Amoonguss? Oh, I click Recover every day of the week. Yeah, there's actually no scenario that I don't go for Recover here. Well, actually... Yeah, no, I always click Recover here. Because my goal should be to avoid, like, Koraidon crit. Especially considering the fact that we don't have to worry about Sun now. That's actually a hit that we could take. So... And it would kill them. Like, if they die to one more Flare Blitz. So, my play should always actually be to Recover. And if they burn a Protect here, that's great, because I can kill them on the next turn. So, yeah, for a team that looked, like, really unwinnable at the start. Like we got down 4-2 against Koraidon, Amoonguss, Farig, Wake. Like, this seems suddenly, like, very fucking good for us. They're gonna tear it out of their, it's like, weakness. Honestly, fair. I can get that, especially considering the fact that, like, Farig took the hit. I can get the logic here. because their goal is to spore. They don't actually know that we're goggles yet. When they see that we're goggles, they're going to forfeit 100% because they're going to lose Koraidon this turn, which is huge for us because Koraidon is so much weaker without the sun. Oh, I guess they're not going to lose Koraidon. They're still going to lose it on the next turn, and their spore is going to fail. They can't Rage Powder me either because of the goggles. The goggles cook. The goggles cook. If you're gonna use Mewtwo, use this team. I had a different Mewtwo team planned with like Scarf Terra Normal with Weakness Policy Arm Rouge. This team cooks so much more than that though. Oh my goodness. This team like actually cooks. I love this team so much. The person who made this team genuinely is like a visionary. Like oh my goodness. They make Mewtwo look like a good Pokemon for context. And this is objectively a best of one gimmick. If you tried to bring this to a tournament, you would go like 2-7 at best. If you're lucky, you would go 2-7. However, on ladder though, when no one knows what the gimmick does, especially this early into the format, the team is really fun. So yeah, this is, if you're looking for free way to Master Ball, this is the cheat code right here. My opponent is 100% gonna forfeit though. Their weight can't beat me. I get one attack off into wake and they lose. Okay, I respect the attempt, even though I think my opponent just genuinely doesn't know that Safety Goggles still ignores this. Because they're trying to fish for crit here, which is totally valid. Honestly, totally valid. If my opponent did not understand that's how Safety Goggles worked, I get the play 100%. That was their play. Unfortunately, Safety Goggles does work like that, and they can't win. Though, to be fair, Pollen Puff would have done 9 anyway, so they didn't really have a line. Either way, though, we get a solid, like a very good game 1 win. Hopefully this team can get us a Master Ball. I feel very confident this team. This is a team that, unlike yesterday's team, can like quickly. It's meant to farm this type of ladder. So hopefully we can get up to Master Ball. We'll see you guys in game number 2 though. All right, for game number 2, we're taking on Dozogiri with Lugia, and okay, so this is like one of those teams where even despite the fact they have like a Lugia and they have a probably unaware Dondozo, that's most likely final gambit Ape. It doesn't really matter. Objectively, this does not really matter because we could probably repeat the gimmick. I'll be honest. Now I do need to double check something actually, and I'm pretty confident I know the answer already. But I need to double check. Endure. Pokemon. I need to make sure we take the final gambit if they go for final gambit here. Final gambit. Okay. Oko. 1 hit. Let's see. Okay. So this doesn't have. This doesn't look like it has any like contingencies. I think it just works. Let's see. What's your priority? Cannot protect against like future sight. Yada yada yada. Okay, +4 priority. Okay, yeah. There's nothing that would it looks like it even does protect against end of turn effects. So that should be good. We're gonna go for Dondozo here because my Dondozo probably is a much better matchup into their team than their Dondozo is into mine, especially considering Mewtwo can go for something like a Sword Power into this. Let me also get off of my Bulbapedia tab because it's like blinding my face cam because of the white background light. So let me go back to the team. I will say credit where due. Credit against me, I should say. If you're like looking, you're thinking like, oh, she's already 1-0, and then like, no, I'm garbage. I didn't actually realize though until like the game that we were speed boosting Tatsu, which in hindsight like makes a lot of sense. Oh, I think they're so they're attack boosting. They were not shiny. They were definitely not shiny. They're attack boosting, which is good. Yeah, no, I saw the orange one on screen. And I was like, oh, okay, well, yeah, we're shiny, and we are, well, we're not shiny, and we're just attack boosting Tatsu, because that's what you use. You just use attack boosting Tatsu. I'm gonna see this team, and I'm going to raise my opponent by going for a. I think we're just gonna go for a Supercell Slam into that Annihilate and just really like eviscerate its health. Just so I don't like. Actually, never mind. I should just go for Explosion. Like, there's no real reason not to. I think I just click Explosion. Gets a lucky off the field the quickest, and I think it's kind of fine. Plus, if they're not going for the same sort of gimmick here, then their Tatsu's going to take a ton of damage here. I think they're probably Toxic Orb still for what it's worth, or maybe Focus Sash even. No, okay, so they're not. So they just lose their Tatsu. That's huge for us, actually. Oh my goodness, that is huge for us. That is so good. Thankfully we have that. Because that might save us the game, because they're going to lose their Ape now as well. Yeah, they're going for Final Gambit here. Oh boy. So perfect. We won. Like right there, we won the game. They have no line into that now. They're so gonna forfeit. They're so gonna forfeit. This team is so terrifying. Like, if I fought this team without having, like, used it for this video first, I'll be honest, I would have gotten fucked by it. If anyone happens to, like, be watching this who's lost this team, or, like, loses to someone who found this video and loses to this team, or even just, like, in general, they just played the team before the video went up, etc., etc., my condolences. This is, like, a really... It's not like losing to Gloom Dugong bad. That's a whole different beast, I'll be honest. But, like, it's not good either. I wouldn't have pride in, like... I wouldn't be like, oh yeah, you know, this is a fine team to lose to. No, it's still a bad team to lose to. But, like, it's not Gloom Dugong bad, at least, I guess, is something. We're gonna order up, which might seem a little bit weird considering, one, they haven't revealed Terra, and two, that Lugia is honestly probably Terra, and it's also kind of a threatening one. But I do kind of need to go for order up, more to just boost the damage that Mewtwo will do with stored power on the next turn. Well, not on the next turn, but on, like, the turn after that. So I would rather go for order up because it will just make stored power a more powerful attack. And then I'm going to proceed to immediately go for, they're going to go for Psych Up here. Okay, and so they're copying the Lugia, which is fine. They're going to go for Yawn, sure. I don't mind Yawn. The Lugia gaining these stat boosts is kind of crazy, I can't lie. Because it was able to still copy my Dondozo, which makes this a lot more threatening. It's not impossible to beat by any means, because I can just honestly go for the Psych Up into my Dondozo, and then I can go for a Wave Crash into Lugia, because Lugia probably has Terra Fairy. I also do need to go for Terra Fairy though. I don't want Dondozo going for, well, I guess Dondozo can't really go for order up into me. I actually probably should just not Terra, to be honest. I think I have more merit in going for the Terra on, well, no, I probably actually don't Terra on either Mon, in all honesty, because if I go for, so if I go for Terra on the Mewtwo, and Lugia is going for, like, a Psychic move, which I doubt it will, but if it's going for, like, Sword Power, then my play is always to not Terra to keep that resistance. The Dondozo on the opponent's side doesn't have, they're going for Airless. Oh, okay, that's an insane miss. I'm so sorry, actually. Meanwhile, if my opponent has Order Up on their Dondozo, even if they're clicking as, like, a neutral to not have any drawback here, they're probably clicking Earthquake for what it's worth, but if they're clicking as a neutral, then I never really gain a lot. They're going for Earthquake. Yeah, okay. That makes sense. Because they have a Lugia as a partner for this. There's no world where they actually click anything else. Okay, so my play first should be to kill the Dondozo. It's not that Lugia isn't scary, but I am stat boosted on both my Mons that my Dondozo does get around their Lugia's boost. So I shouldn't really respect the Lugia right now, and instead I should put pressure on Dondozo before I yawns my my Mewtwo as well, and then Lugia high crits me. Because that would frankly probably be the most terrifying scenario. So there's Psych Up and Aeroblast right now, which is good information. This might lead to me potentially going for a Terra Steel on Dondozo after I kill theirs. They probably still have Earth Power though, which is my concern with that. They're gonna go for Protect. Okay, Protect is fair. Honestly, Protect is a good play, but it does give me a turn to wake up, so I'm kind of okay with that. They're gonna proceed to get protected around the Sword Power, which is fine. They're probably gonna Sword Power my Dondozo, which is fair. No, they're gonna go for Aeroblast. Okay, Aeroblast is still fine. Good hit for sure. Ooh, okay. Hold on. So what I probably need to do is I probably need to click Recover here. We're in Nerve Mewtwo, so they still have probably like another 6. They have another 6 of those, which is fine. Yeah, I'm gonna go for Wave Crash here, and then I'm gonna go for the Recover. I'm gonna go for 1 Recover here on a probable Yawn turn, and then I'll go for Store Power. I think that's the play. Because I gotta hope that I wake up. If I wake up, I'm kind of set. I can potentially bank on an Aeroblast dodge as well, to be fair, doing this. I doubt that they dual attack, and even if they do dual attack, it's not a huge concern. But my goal should always be to avoid really just like any sort of shenanigan right here. And just not die to Aeroblast, because that's the way I lose this game. They're gonna Terra into Terra Steel. Okay, perfect. Honestly, Terra Steel is fine. I'm very okay with Terra Steel. Because I still have Earth Power for this. So this is a very easy one to kill still. I'm not too concerned. We're gonna Recover up. Recover will be huge here. Honestly, this is a really objectively huge Recover for us, because it gets us up to basically full. They're gonna Aeroblast, sure. We can take that, thankfully. And then Dondozo does wake up. Okay, so this is like the perfect scenario at this point. Because we get off a huge hit at this turn. And that Lugia is now in, it's now in Stored Power range. So my play here is to Wave Crash their Dondozo and to go for Store Power into Lugia. Essentially, this helps me with getting around any sort of... Really, it's mostly here, in all honesty, for getting around Protect in case that they do go for Protect. I could also just Earth Power. Actually, I could Earth Power. So they have Protect. They're either Mono Flying, which I could go for it. I'm just going to dual target the Dondozo in all honesty. I'm going to dual target Dozo. Okay, perfect. So we're going to Earth Power Dozo. That is a near kill. And Wave Crash will do a good amount. It won't, like, kill, but yeah, okay, so they recover. So they probably don't have Protect, which is still fine. They're not going to get up to multi-scale unless they recover yet again, which is okay. They're only 8 PP. And Wave Crash just killed their Dondozo, which is huge. Okay, so at minimum, we killed their Yanmon. So my Dondozo still gets a good turn against their Lugia because they don't have a spread move on this. And not having to take Earthquake is actually a really good thing too. It gives me a lot more luxury once I scout out that 4th move. Because if they do have Earth Power as a 4th move, and I could actually just Terra Steel to scout for that. Because if they're not clicking Aeroblast, that's kind of decent. It's a high crit move. I would prefer not to with my stat boost. So I'm going to Terra Steel. And I'm going to go for Terra Steel, and I'm going to go for a Order Up here. Because essentially not taking Wave Crash recoil is really nice, but more than anything, despite doing less damage, I could in theory just Psych Up my Mewtwo and then get to a point where Sword Power will do even more. So that will be kind of huge. I'm gonna spam Recover on Mewtwo until I guess until I die. If they're gonna Aeroblast me twice, then that's kind of unfortunate, but it is what it is. I just need to recover. Really just need to recover. But if they're gonna go for Aeroblast and a Mewtwo though, then they're not clicking moves into Dondozo, which is good. And again, my goal here is just to avoid getting like high crit ratioed because that's where I lose the game. So we're gonna go for Order Up here because that'll also help us just with outpacing their Lugia. They're gonna Aeroblast my Dondozo, which is totally fair, honestly. Like I get the play. But now we should be able to get a potential speed advantage here too, because we are. I think we're +4 now because they Psych Up first, and then we got like 2 more speed boosts now because I ordered up on that Psych Up turn, and then I ordered up again. Let's see. So we're definitely +4. Are they +3 or +4? They're +3 actually. Okay, that's fine. Either way, I just keep ordering up because they're probably not gonna copy that. I'm gonna recover again. I think they're gonna forfeit. No, they're not gonna forfeit. Okay. I really thought they were gonna forfeit because they have to recover actually. Which they're gonna Earth Power. Okay, so they do have Earth Power. That's fine. This actually does no damage. A crit would have probably killed for what it's worth. Maybe it wouldn't have, but I doubt it didn't. We're +5 now, so we actually do probably outpace now. I can't imagine we wouldn't. I would be really shocked if we didn't. There's a world where they probably just go for a recover here just to try and take that. But I can Order Up plus Psych Up. Again, just to get the stat boost really is all. They're gonna cancel battle. Okay, perfect. So we're 2-0. We're 2-0. The strat has worked so far. I think this will put us into Master Ball. But either way, I'm gonna cut to the next game. I'll let you guys know if we made Master Ball or not. All right, for our final game of the day, we are taking on what looks to be a very hard Trick Room team. So in this particular matchup, it is probably advantageous for sure to go for that just Aleki immediately because like why wouldn't we? Honestly, like what here really stops it? I'm not gonna lie. Now I will say that there is a little bit, so I do need to be a bit careful. There's a couple things in particular that could maybe put up some decent pressure. I could also just maybe bench Mewtwo and go with like Urshifu Aleki on lead. I think that might also have some merit. Mostly just if I can maybe force a bad Terra onto Rig, that could be kind of helpful. There's not really a lead that I would say I fear with that in mind. Let's see. I guess, okay, so I'm trying to think. So there's a good chance I think they lead off with Mienshao, actually. I think Mienshao is a pretty good lead for them. What do I do around that? I don't think there's a lead that I really have around that. I think I just kind of need to hope they maybe don't lead it. Maybe they see this team and don't bring Mienshao. I think, so for them to beat the team, they have to lead Mienshao. That's the only way they beat this team. Because otherwise I just go for Terra Normal Explosion and I claim to. Unlike with the other games, I lose a lot actually by not going for that Terra Normal, so I will probably need to go for it. I can't imagine that Calcs are kind. I'll double check just to be sure, but I cannot imagine I'll get away with, without going with the thing. So we're Adamant 236. They're gonna lead off with Mienshao. Fuck. Okay. Regieleki. We are Adamant 236. Calyrex. Ice. Okay. So we actually don't even kill. Oh my god, that does like no damage. Okay. So my play is then Supercell does less still. Specifically if we burn a Terra, otherwise it does more. I'm gonna go for Supercell. I'll go for the Endure here. Mostly just get like to survive the turn. I think there's a good chance that my opponent probably just goes for like a fake out in Aleki and Trick Room, which is fine. I kind of need to again just take it. Yep. Okay. So this is fine. It's unfortunate, but it is still fine. I can make that work. Okay. So my play is then to switch out Tatsugiri into Dondozo here, and then just go for the Supercell. I'm specifically going to make sure to go for the Supercell into the Calyrex, because again, I just need a Calyrex dead. That is kind of the big thing here. I could also just go for Explosion, to be fair. Explosion's still a fine click. Specifically because I haven't clicked a move yet, I don't really want to fear like a wide guard on the Mienshao, so I'm just going to go for Supercell. And I'll go hard mid Dondozo. There's not a move that they click that actually threatens my Dondozo, which is decent at least, and this is good chip, if nothing else. I could potentially then just bring in like an endgame Mewtwo after Trick Room is ended, and that's a decent line that I have. I just need to survive I need to survive in Trick Room against their team until the turns end, really, so I can bring in Mewtwo at the end of it. Ideally, I survive until exactly the end of Trick Room. That would be like the perfect scenario. They're gonna land here, that's fine. It will kill Aleki very confidently. They're gonna get a boost, but it will not matter because we're unaware Dondozo. Unlike with the Cosmoem team, we actually have an unaware Dondozo in this team, so it helps a lot. This is a very free match because of it. The bigger concern here is, so thankfully they're going for coaching, which does not matter against Dondozo. Thankfully though, they're gonna end up pointlessly stat boosting. My Tatsu has enough health too to be kind of fine. So I'm not really too scared, thankfully. Obviously, I mean, we still have to get Mewtwo in for the team to be kind of potent, but it will take enough turns to where I think it dies, let's see, 6, then 18, then 36, and then, okay, so it will not take enough. It'll get to 60%, so it'll take like 2 more turns. It'll take 6 turns. I could still maybe make this work, to be fair. I just need to keep Dondozo alive for 6 turns, which is doable. It's honestly very doable. My play is to immediately go for a... I think it's to honestly just go for an Earthquake. Well, no. I'd still go for an Order Up here. Is it? I think it's to go for an Order Up into specifically the Mienshao spot. I think there's a good chance that maybe that spot switches. I doubt the Cali switches. I think they're going to be very adamant about keeping Cali in. But if they're going to swap anything, it's Mienshao. Plus, they probably don't have Protect on this. It's most likely Wide Guard, if any move. So Order Up will go off here. We're actually slower than their Mienshao. That's good to note. Because they do have Trick Room up. That is very good to know. We're definitely not slower anymore, but it is good to note nonetheless. They're going to still go for coaching. Okay, so they clearly have not realized that we're unaware of Dondozo. Perk of being on low ladder, I guess. Either way. So they have coaching, they have fake out. They probably have wide guard and then a fighting stab. I can't imagine they don't have a fighting stab. So I should definitely be going for a protect here. Thankfully, they're just giving me these turns, which is huge. If they had something like, for example, Amoonguss, and they swapped into that, that would be very terrifying. Thankfully, though, I don't believe they had one. They had Farrig, Ogerpon, Torkoal, and I forget what the last one is. But, like, it's workable. It's workable for sure. Thankfully, as well, they have not swapped into Torkoal. Because specifically, like, a Solar Beam Torkoal could have been kind of terrifying here. They're going to go for high horsepower. That is perfectly fine. It will not do any real damage, considering we have a Dondozo on the field. And then they're going to go for close combat. Okay, yep, that's A-okay. Thankfully, as well, we have some form of bulk, which is huge. And the Cali does no fucking damage to that. It's going to be a very weak Calyrex. Meanwhile, our Tatsugiri is taking damage, which is huge. We're going to order up into the Ice Force. I actually don't want Mienshao to die until the very last turn of Trick Room, ideally, because that puts the partner spot at a disadvantage base. So I would rather just get the damage off the Cali right now, because this is a very free turn to get damage off the Cali. They're going to CC, that won't do anything. Oh my god, they crit. Okay, fuck, that is a horrible crit for us. Holy shit, that's a really bad crit for us. Thankfully I wasn't clicking Wave Crash. That might be game losing, I'll be honest. I won't act like there weren't ways they could have won beforehand, but they're not playing into any of them. If they have Feint over Wide Guard, I might actually lose the game. They're gonna return Twisted Vengeance. Okay. Fuck. Okay. I'm gonna have to click Protect here and just hope that they... I need to hope I can get a turn, right? They're gonna definitely reset Trick Room. I feel very confident in that, but I kind of just need to let them reset Trick Room, which is so unfortunate because my goal is to not let them reset Trick Room until like the latest turn possible. And this actually might fuck up my turn count too. But again, like they put me in such a bad situation, I really can't make anything else happen. They're gonna go for Trick Room. Okay, perfect. So at minimum, I can kill the Mienshao here, which is good. I think there's a very real chance they potentially go for Protect plus Close Combat here to try and get some damage off. So at least to get some damage off with the Mienshao. So I am gonna make that play for sure. I think it's a decent play for us too. So we're gonna go for this. Now, the bigger concern is the fact that I probably can't safely Psych Up on Mewtwo, which is kind of an L. But depending on their last Pokemon, I can make it work. They're gonna go for horsepower. Okay. Sure. Horsepower is whatever. They're gonna go for CC. So that is unfortunate. We die. We die because of the fucking crit. We would have still taken good damage. I won't act like we wouldn't have. But like this, literally, it's like the reason we lost the game. Because there's a very good chance I could have potentially like went for a wave crash or something, or even just put more immediate pressure instead of having to protect on the Mienshao. What would have probably happened is I would have went for wave crash into that Calyrex, which I think could have maybe done some serious damage. It might not have killed for what it's worth, but it could have probably done a good amount, I will say. Yeah, like that was at least doable. For what it's worth, the wave crash was still like a guarantee to a KO, but it was a lot more doable. I kind of have to just like muddy water here and then hope that I guess Terra Fairy maybe helps. I don't know. I don't really gain anything from clicking this anyway, but I'm gonna click it regardless and just store power into the Mienshao and just hope for the best, I guess. Well, like realistically, I die this turn. I have no health to take this hit on my Tatsu, which could have maybe muddy watered through them. So yeah, I mean it is what it is. It is what it is. In hindsight, maybe going for like a taunt into the Cali turn one could have been huge. But I mean, I've risked like dying to an offensive move there, which isn't really great either, especially if they Lance, because Lance isn't exactly a terrible play with Fake Out Mienshao next to it. So they could have went for that. So I'll stand by the fact I don't think there was a super safe play, especially considering we are hasty Tatsugiri. Tatsugiri, like I can't imagine that like that Cali wasn't gonna do a lot. Yeah, like Tatsugiri literally died, so I couldn't even make that play actually, because if I made that play, right, I would have had to burn a Terra Steel on this, which is such an awful play to make. Like Terra Steel just to avoid that. And for the record, they also could technically, it's just horsepower, which also killed. Fucking insane. I don't know if they would have done that, to be fair. I think Lance would have been the click if they were doing that, but like regardless, it's just not a sequence I had in my favor. 2-1 though is still really good. I'll take 2-1 for using one of the worst like real restricted Pokemon and doing that well. I'll fully take that. If you want to try the team again, it's going to be in the beginning for you guys. Hopefully you enjoyed, and if you did and you want to see more content like this, like and subscribe for more. Also consider becoming a channel member. We do have some nice perks from members, of course. Again, we have the full in-depth builders going up to memberships. This starts tomorrow with our first one being the Zamazenta Rain, which should be pretty cool. You also get one bonus video a month that the members do get to decide. I'll be pulling that probably on like Sunday will probably be the day we pull it. I'm gonna pull it on a day where we don't have the builders, but I also want to give a bit more time in case anyone is going to subscribe for those. So our current members though are Zeke, Mia, Rao Sakura, Obo, Alex Gadgets, Incog M, Randy Chappa, and our bigger fan Josh K Ultra Player. Thank you guys very much for the support on the channel. It means the world. And with that said, I will see you guys tomorrow for Zama Rain. Until then, peace out, guys.